In this lesson, we'll continue with polymorphism. In the last lesson, we saw what polymorphism is. We applied one function in different classes, kept its name the same. We were changing the definition of the function every time, but just on the basis of which they were called. On the basis of that object, the definition of the function its call was being done and an output was showing. Now, let's see the different cases of inheritance how polymorphism is implemented. I modified the example a little. I have three classes. One is named India, one is US, and one class is named Pakistan. I created objects of these three classes, which are how objects are created in OOP. After creating the object, I called two functions here. One function call I did was the last class that was inherited, India class, and the second function call is called through the US class, which is inherited, India's class. Both these classes have been inherited from single class India. If I call here now, so the thing to be noted is that in Pakistan's class, the function language has not been made, and similarly, in the USA class, the capital function has not been made. If I call them, if at the first priority in Pakistan's class is the language function, it will be executed. If the language function is not there, so from which class it has been inherited? From, in that class, if the function's definition is done, it will call it. If I run it in both cases, it will do call of India's class function. First time it printed Hindi Urdu, is the most widely spoken language in India, which is a function defined in India's class. Similarly, secondly, New Delhi is the capital of India. Even though I call them through the USA and Pakistan object, which both classes are inherited from India, but they do not have the definition of their function, so that is why they will use the definition of their parent's class. This concept is an inheritance case. Same if we have to look at polymorphism in functions case, that how to play with functions and objects in polymorphism. So for it, I have written a small function. The parameter of function is an object, means all the objects we have, through the objects it is called, only that class's function will be executed. If I call it here, I did functions call, and when I pass the object that is obj underscore pak, all the functions we would have of Pakistan's class, whose definition would be done, it would call them. Now, when I called through Pakistan, so obj.capital, this definition of function is done in Pakistan's class, but call of language function has not been done in Pakistan class. So, that is why it has used its parent's class's function here. Similarly, if I have to call it through more than one object, I will. It has printed all my objects using one function, all the attributes, data values that were stored of that object. Here, we'll try to do another small experiment. I'll do this function call in for loop for C in. I passed C as an argument here because it is our iterator variable. obj underscore India is not defined. Our first error is created here, just int. It showed the output of all our objects through a loop. These were all methods that how we treat polymorphism in inheritance, how we treat it in functions, and how do we treat it separately.